Hi, I'm Patrick Reagan. Welcome to the Advanced Networking Concepts, Part 3, Cloud Concepts. During this video, we'll discuss what is the cloud and define its characteristics. We'll then discuss service models and deployment models and discuss some of the common cloud services available. As always, stick around for the practice questions at the end to test your knowledge and help you prepare for the Network Plus exam. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button. And if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel for more tech training content and technical know-how. The cloud refers to the network of remote servers accessible through the internet where users can store and access data, run applications, and utilize services like email, streaming video, and office software, essentially allowing them to access information from anywhere with an internet connection without needing to manage physical servers. In simpler terms, it's a virtual storage space online where you can keep your files, services, and programs. By using the cloud, you're transferring the hosting of resources and services to someone else that is connected to the internet so that you can focus on what is important to you instead of focusing on running a data center and underlying infrastructure. Cloud services are built on virtualization, with virtualization acting as the foundational technology that allows physical hardware to be split into multiple virtual machines, or VMs, and resources, which cloud providers then deliver as on-demand services. The cloud is considered the evolution of virtualization, extending its benefits with self-service, automation, elasticity, and broad access, moving beyond just server consolidation to an entire service delivery model. Cloud computing is the use of internet-based computing resources, typically as a service, to allow internal or external customers to consume where scalable and elastic information technology-enabled capabilities are provided. Cloud computing refers to the delivery of computing services like servers, storage, databases, networking, and software over the internet, allowing users to access these resources on demand without needing to manage their own physical hardware. You are essentially renting computing power as needed and paying only for what you use. The cloud provider uses a black box approach by providing the cloud service without you worrying about the details that make the service work. You don't worry about how it works. That is what you're paying the cloud provider to worry about, those details. This allows you to focus on your core business without fretting about running an entire data center. Key points about the cloud include access from anywhere. You can access your cloud data from any device with an internet connection. Data storage. The cloud stores your data on remote servers managed by a cloud provider. Scalability. You can easily increase or decrease your cloud storage space as needed. Services offered. Besides storage, cloud services can include computing power, databases, software applications, and more. Servers are still involved, but often, when you connect to the cloud's resource or service, you don't usually concern yourself or even notice that you're accessing a remote server. Examples of the cloud include online storage with Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, and Dropbox. Microsoft Office 365 that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, and Exchange email. Email services with Microsoft Outlook and Gmail. Streaming services such as movies, TV shows, and music with Netflix and Spotify. Online meetings via Zoom and Microsoft Teams. And managing customer relationships with Salesforce. The National Institute of Standards and Technology states the cloud is composed of these 5 essential characteristics. On-demand self-service. The cloud service provider enables the provision of cloud resources on demand. Broad network access. The cloud, by its nature, is always on and always accessible, offering for users to have widespread access to resources, data, and other assets. Resource pooling, or shared resources. Group or pool resources for use across the user's landscape or multiple clients, which can then scale and adjust to the user's or client needs based on the workload or resource requirements. Rapid elasticity allows the user to obtain and release additional resource, storage, compute power, and so on as the user's need or workload requires, which can include seamless scaling and instant resource provisioning. And measured service. Resource usage can be measured, controlled, reported, and alerted upon. The advantages of the cloud include the following: cost efficiency, no need for upgrade investment in hardware or data centers. Accessibility, data and applications can be accessed from anywhere with an internet connection. Automatic updates, cloud providers handles maintenance, including updates and patches. Disaster recovery, data is often backed up and redundantly stored across multiple locations. While redundancy provides availability, high availability will cost more. File synchronization, information can be duplicated across cloud locations, including synchronizing on a local machine to the cloud. A fee is charged by cloud service providers on the basis of how much of a resource was used. Fees may be based on things like access time, bandwidth used, bytes uploaded or downloaded, CPU usage, amount storage used, and other resource usage metrics. Metered cloud services allow you to pay for what you use, including cost to upload, cost to store, and cost to download. Non-metered cloud service allows you to pay for a block of storage with no cost to upload or download. While individual costs are predictable, the main concerns with metered cloud utilizations are their overall unpredictable cost or bill shock because of the cloud complexity and complete tracking usage accurately. Users worry about unexpected spikes from anomalies like user errors or misconfiguration, or even unknown or related costs that a client may not be aware of. Sometimes, to control cloud spending, you'll need constant oversight to avoid overspending that requires robust tools for monitoring and alerting. For example, many cloud service costs are partially based on how much bandwidth is consumed, which is usually difficult to predict ahead of time. And you only find out how much the actual costs are after you have used it for a while. A VM running with a certain amount of memory and processing can be broken down to an hourly, daily, or monthly cost, but clients don't realize how much traffic is uploaded to the VM until they get the bill. Cloud computing allows you to move your compute services from CapEx to OpEx. Capital expenditure, or CapEx, is money invested by a company to acquire or upgrade fixed, physical, or non-consumable assets. Examples include buildings, computer equipment, production equipment, furniture, and land. Operational expenditures, or OpEx, is expenditures that a business incurs as a result of performing its normal business operations. Examples include utility cost, maintenance, rent, utilities, research and development, accounting and legal fees, and wages and salaries. The drivers for cloud computing include the following: the desire to reduce IT complexity, risk reduction. Users can use the cloud to test ideas and concepts before making major investments in technology. Scalability. Users have access to a large number of resources that scale based on user demand. Elasticity. The environment transparently manages the user's resource utilization based on dynamically changing needs. Consumption-based pricing. Virtualization. Each user has a single view of the available resources, independent of their arrangement in terms of physical devices. Cost. The pay-per-usage model allows an organization to pay only for the resources it needs, with basically no investment in the physical resources available in the cloud. There's no infrastructure maintenance or upgrade costs. Business agility. Mobility. Users can access data and applications from around the globe. Collaboration and innovation. Users are starting to see the cloud as a way to work simultaneously on common data and information. Advocates of public and hybrid clouds note that cloud computing allows companies to avoid or minimize upfront IT infrastructure costs. Proponents also claim that cloud computing allows enterprises to get their applications up and running faster with improved manageability and less maintenance. It enables IT teams to more rapidly adjust resources to meet fluctuating and unpredictable demand. Cloud providers typically use pay-as-you-go model, which can lead to unexpected operating expenses if administrators are not familiar with cloud pricing models. By moving workloads to the cloud allows the company IT staff to focus on the application or service running on the cloud and not to worry about the underlying details that make the service available. When dealing with cloud services, you will find the following computing roles. Cloud Service Provider, or CSP, is a company that provides cloud-based platform, infrastructure, application, or storage services to other organizations or individuals, usually for a fee, otherwise known to clients as a service. Cloud-based service provider is a third-party entity that manages it and holds operational responsibilities for cloud-based data backup services and solutions to customers from a central data center. Cloud computing reseller is a company that purchases hosting services from a cloud server hosting or cloud computing provider and then resells them to its own customers. Cloud customer is an individual or entity that utilizes or subscribes to cloud-based services or resources. Cloud Service Auditor is a third-party organization that verifies attainment of service level agreements or SLAs. And Cloud Service Brokerage, or CSB, is typically a third-party entity or company that looks to extend or enhance values to multiple customers of cloud-based services through relationships with multiple CSPs. It acts as a liaison between cloud services customers and CSPs, selecting the best provider for each customer and monitoring the services. The CSP can be utilized as a middleman to broker the best deal and customize services to customers' requirements. The CSP may also resell cloud services. Cloud service models is a way of delivering IT resources like computing power, storage, and software over the internet, letting businesses use services without owning the underlying infrastructure. The three main types of cloud service models include infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, platform as a service, or PaaS, and software as a service, also known as SaaS, SaaS. Infrastructure as a service provides virtualized computing resources such as virtual machines, storage, and networking so that you can deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include operating systems and applications. The consumer does not manage and control the underlying cloud infrastructure. It provides services at the lowest level of network infrastructure, including networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. Platform as a Service, or PaaS, offers development platforms and tools for building applications without managing underlying infrastructure. It delivers a computing platform, typically including operating systems, programming language execution environment, database, and web server. It allows you to build or deploy applications based on programming languages, libraries, and services without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. Application developers develop and run their software on a cloud platform instead of directly buying and managing the underlying hardware and software layers. It allows the customer to have control over the applications themselves. Software as a Service, or SaaS, delivers software applications over the internet accessible via a browser. Users use and access the cloud provider's applications that are running on the provider's infrastructure from thin client or program interfaces. The cloud providers manages the infrastructure and platforms that run the applications and install and operate application software in the cloud, and cloud users access the software from cloud clients. SaaS is sometimes referred to as on-demand software and is usually priced on a pay-per-use basis or using a subscription fee. With the infrastructure as a service, the cloud provider maintains and controls the underlying architecture. The customer controls services deployed within the cloud, including operating system, storage, and deployed applications. The customer will have limited control over network applications, and the customer can deploy and run arbitrary software and systems. It offers rapid provisioning and scalability and high availability. With the platform as a service, the cloud provider is responsible for the operating system and hosting environments, including libraries, services, and tools. The customer is responsible for deploying their applications within the provided platform infrastructure. The cloud provider is responsible for patching and deploying systems. Platform as a Service offers auto-scaling and flexible and choice of hosting environments. For software as a service, the cloud provider supplies a full cloud platform and software application to the customer. The provider is responsible for maintaining the entire system and all underlying infrastructure, while the customer provides user access and permissions to data for their requirements. It has the lowest support requirements for the customer and offers limited configuration options. This figure shows a common depiction of what services are provided by the different services models by the provider. For infrastructure as a service, the customer manages the applications, data, runtime, middleware, and operating system, while the service provider provides virtualization, servers, storage, and networking. Or platform as a service, the management and updating of the runtime, middleware, and operating system shift to the cloud provider. For the SaaS application, the service provider handles it all. I added the power and cooling just to emphasize that since everything runs on the provider's data center, you don't have to worry about power and cooling. This is one of those things that you're paying the provider for. This figure shows that the infrastructure as a service offers the most control, while the software as a service offers the least amount of control. Within an organization, IT administrators usually manage infrastructure as a service, while software developers usually use and manage the platform as a service. End users typically use SaaS. Some examples of software as a service include Salesforce CRM, Google Docs, Google Apps, Office 365, Dropbox, DocuSign, Gmail, Trello, and Zoom. Some examples of platform as a service is AWS Elastic Beanstalk, Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure Platform, AWS Lambda, SAP Cloud, and Heroku. Some examples of infrastructure as a service include Amazon Web Services, or AWS, including their AWS Elastic Computer Cloud, or EC2, Google Computer Engine, or GCE, Microsoft Azure, and Rackspace. When dealing with cloud services, the cloud computing has several deployment models. The most common is private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and community cloud. Private cloud is cloud infrastructure operated solely for a single organization, whether managed internally or by a third party, and hosted either internally or externally. It is your own virtualized local data center. Undertaking a private cloud project requires significant engagement to virtualize the business environment and requires the organization to reevaluate decisions about existing resources. It can improve business, but every step in the project raises security issues that must be addressed to prevent serious vulnerabilities. Self-run data centers are generally capital intensive. They have a significant physical footprint, requiring all allocations of space, hardware, and environmental controls. A cloud is called a public cloud when the services are rendered over a network that is open for public use. Public cloud services may be free. It is available to everyone over the internet. Technically, there may be little or no difference between public and private cloud architectures. However, security considerations may be substantially different for services such as application storage and other resources that are made available by a service provider for a public audience and when communication is effected over a non-trusted network. Generally, public cloud service providers like Amazon Web Services, IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, and Google own and operate the infrastructure at their data center, and access is generally via the internet. It may have a tunnel directly to data centers. Hybrid cloud is a composition of a public cloud and a private environment, such as the private cloud or an on-premise resources that remain distinct entities that are bound together, offering the benefits of multiple deployment models. Hybrid cloud can also mean the ability to connect co-location, manage and/or dedicated services with cloud resources. It allows one to extend either the capacity or the capabilities of a cloud service by aggregation, integration, or customization with another cloud service. For example, you can have some storage allocated in the cloud and some storage allocated in your own data center. Community cloud shares infrastructure between several organizations from a specific community with common interests or concerns, whether managed internally or by a third party, and either hosted internally or externally. Community cloud examples include healthcare or education, government shared services, and horizontal clouds for common functions like HR or finance across different companies, enabling secure data sharing, industry-specific apps, and collaborative tools for organizations with similar goals or regulations. The costs are spread over fewer users than a public cloud, but more than a private cloud, so only some of the cost savings potential of cloud computing are realized. Question: which of the following cloud computing concepts allow scalable services to be provided to the client? Answer: rapid elasticity. Question: which of the following cloud models allow you to share costs among multiple customers? Answer: public cloud. Question: you subscribe to a cloud service and you pay a monthly fee for a block of services. Which of the following is represented when you build incrementally when you exceed the monthly fee? Answer: measured service. Question: what type of service would a hosted email be? Answer: SaaS. Question: which of the following describes IaaS? Answer: you provide hardware to host multiple virtualized servers in the cloud. Question: which cloud model allows you the most control? Answer: IaaS. Question: which of the following roles, according to the shared responsibility model, is responsible for securing the company's databases in an IaaS model for a cloud environment? Answer: client. Question: which of the following would you use to outsource patching of firmware, operating systems, and applications to the chosen cloud vendor? Answer: SaaS. Question: which of the following architectures is most suitable to provide redundancy for critical business processes? Answer: cloud native. Question: which of the following best describes an environment where a business owns the application and operating system but requires the resources to host them in the cloud? Answer: IaaS. For more information, refer to these sites. In summary, the cloud refers to the network of remote servers accessible through the internet where users can store and access data, run applications, and utilize services like email, streaming video, and office software, essentially allowing them to access information from anywhere with an internet connection without needing to manage physical servers. The cloud provider uses a black box approach by providing the cloud service without you worrying about the details that make the service work. Cloud computing allows you to move your compute services from CapEx to OpEx. Cloud service provider or CSPs are responsible for securing the cloud infrastructure that underpins their services. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, provides virtualized computer resources such as virtual machines, storage, and networking so that you can deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include the operating systems and applications. Platform as a Service, or PaaS, offers development platforms and tools for building applications without managing underlying infrastructure. Software as a Service, or SaaS, delivers software applications over the internet, accessibly via a browser. Private cloud is a cloud infrastructure operated solely for a single organization, whether managed internally or by a third party, and hosted either internally or externally. A cloud is called a public cloud when the services are rendered over a network that is open for public use. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be Advanced Networking, Part 4, More Cloud Services. If you like this video, click the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Hedger Back channel. Thank you.